The handbrake bracket here is rotten. The floor is rotten, I should say, and the handbrake bracket is rotten. So this here is actually broke off its original mounting bolts. So I'm going to attempt to fabricate a bracket, because priced this with John Deere, and John Deere are €280 plus the VAT for this tiny little bracket here, little metal bracket. It is a mild steel bracket that wears away over time as well. It's not very good, and they have none in stock. So this cracked recently, so I'm going to attempt to take this off. Actually, that's literally the head of the bolt just came off my finger. That's how bad it is there. So this could be very entertaining taking this out, but look, we'll just have to persevere. It has to work. We need a handbrake. Good job. That's just one vein.
I don't know why all the leaves, can't understand why all that green stuff's on it, hey? Huh?
Yeah. That is absolutely unbelievable, hey?
Wow.
Just how bad this is. So eventually got that bracket off completely, got the bolts out, what's left of them, which is not a lot. And I'm left with 2 holes in the floor here for where the bolts go. And an incredible mess here. This is completely rotten out right across. So thinking now when I get this bracket made, I might get a little bit of sheet metal and just patch this. Obviously, as I said before, the cab has to be done someday, but for now, I just patch it up and it'll keep things maybe closed in and right, keep it airtight to a certain point. Just yeah. So that's it. I'm going to start templating this now. Try make something up for this. I get a bracket done first, and then we'll patch this. So what you can see here now is obviously is the beginning of my bracket for this handbrake. So this is going to be kind of where we're at. So a brief explanation is what's going to happen is I'm going to have to shorten the top, kind of cut like a shape out of this. There's not going to be much of this left, but that's just the way we have to start. So I'm going to cut out this here right round, and then these 2 legs here, I'll be cutting this straight down and straight down along the edge. I need to keep this tab here. This section here has to stay, because I'm going to drill a hole in this, which is going to be the mounting, for mounting it. And exactly the same on this side. There's going to be a hole here. So I'm just going to cut out these pieces like that there, and I'll be able to tell where I am. But first of all, I'm going to take it into the tractor, and I'm going to line it up to roughly where I think the holes are going to be, and I'm going to measure in, because I need to go, this needs to be 50 mil away from the edge of the cab as I measured it previous, so that I know I know it won't be that far down. It'll probably be somewhere there, because just the way it works out. So I'm going to work all that out now, cut out pieces out of it, and eventually then I'll hopefully get down to the point where I'm going to start to be able to shape this up and make the bracket out of it. it's cut out, which is crazy because this stuff, I'm guessing, is close to 3mm. I'd say it's, yeah, pretty much 3mm plate, and it's completely rotten through it. So it's probably dirt from boots and that over the years, I guess, laying in the bottom of the cab. The rubber mat sits up a couple of inches. It sits up very high, and in alongside it, it can store dirt all the time and crap from the fields, whatever you're walking around on. So anyway, that's probably been the cause, and also the rubber mat can allow it to sweat. It's the perfect place for metal to rot in underneath the rubber mat. As you can see here as well, you can see one hole here, there was another hole here, and there was another hole up here somewhere. I'm going to fold a little piece of plate, cut the angle on it, and then I'm going to drill 3 holes to make it fit. And then my new bracket for my handbrake is going to sit in on top of it. So that's the whole plan. So I'm going to get stuck into that now. I have a little bit of plate nearly ready to cut out, and then I'll fold it in the press. To put a wee edge on it here, and yeah, well, I intended on doing the handbrake bracket first, but now I think maybe I might as well repair this first so I know where I'm at. I thought I'd show you this quickly, this little folder I made. Like, I made this years ago and done loads of little jobs with it. That's a piece of an old bearing, probably not ideally suitable because it's very hard, you can actually see it cracked. But just a piece of angle mounted on a piece of I-beam, small piece of I-beam. This thing has done loads of little jobs for me so far. Very simple setup. That pushes down and gives you a fold in a piece of metal like so, like I just showed you. So for little jobs like this is only 2mm plate, and I guess it might do 3mm, but I've never tried it. It'll be really pushing the limits of this because this will start to bend. Like, I didn't put much effort into building this at the time. It was literally just to get a few pieces of tin folded. As you seen when I was folding this, I had to move it over and back along it just to get the right fold in the edge of it. Well, it's not right, but it's close, and it's good enough to do most of the jobs, like little panel work and small stuff. And I've used it so many times, like, and it just works exactly what you'd want. Like a folder, one of these folders, press folders are very expensive, and you know, this does the trick. So anyway, on that aside, as you can see now, I have this little piece made up, and And this is my old piece that I'm now going to mark, which is actually works out, it's exactly the right length. I'm going to mark it up and I'm going to cut the edges out, and then when I've that all done, I'll be able to mark up the holes. I'll take it into the tractor, get this exactly where it needs to be, mark up where the holes are from underneath, mark the plate, drill the plate, get it fitted in, and hopefully get it welded in now. So on the first fit, it's pretty close. See, it's nice and tight along the edge, but probably just a tiny bit tight. I left it a little bit big, and that is due to making sure that I had enough, because there's no point in making it and having to make another one. So it's very close, and just kind of weighing it up to where I need to take a little bit off. So I'm just going to mark it up here. I need to take a little bit off the end. That's all right. I need a little bit off the end here to allow it to slide a little bit further forward. I'm nearly going to leave most of the point on the end of it. Just roughly mark it here and hopefully get it down into the end just a little bit further, and let this corner match up with this here to fill this hole. Now I'll probably have to take a little bit more off the edge, which I probably will take that. I'll probably take, well, in fact I'll not take anything off till I know where I am with the gap. So I want this lining up with here, and I want this to sit down. So I'm going to address this to try and get it shunted up, see can I get it any better, and then if there's anything left, I'll just take a little bit off the edge of this here, just let it down. So I've just beat this into place just with the hammer. I've taken a little chamfer off the edge of this, and I've tucked the nose off it. So I've taken about 5mm off the nose to get it in a little bit to match up with this. It's a little bit, it's sitting a little bit out on the bottom. So one of the problems is I need to take a tiny lip off the edge, just a wee graze off the edge, maybe a couple of mil, the whole length of it, because it is a little bit wide, and it's lifting up this tail. When I get it off, I'll try it again and see will it go in. If it won't, then I'm just going to take a tiny bit off the edge of this top of this here, and it should sit in. So I'm happy enough. It's very close. It's looking good. So here's the little couple of mil extra gone off the edge now, and it's sitting in where it should be, but it's a little bit high. So exactly as I said, I'm going to take a couple of mil off the edge of the top of it. So I'm happy enough with everything fitting. Actually, I just put it in there, and I marked the holes in underneath. Everything is sweet. So just going to drill the holes now in it, and then I'll get back to get the welder set up, and we'll get tacked in. So plate welded in, ground down, looks part of it. So going to give it a little bit of paint, and I'm going to go back to making up the handbrake bracket, so this job finished. Alright, bracket is painted just with a coat of primer. Going to give it a little bit of satin black now. Oh, sorry, wrong one. I suppose I looked at that one. I'll go find it now in a minute. But anyway, that's very high temperature paint. No need for that. Yeah, I did a few final adjustments on it. I had the teeth a little bit high in the center. They just have to be level. I wasn't sure what way it needed to be, but I just kept playing with it until I got it right. And I tested it, put it in, and put the sensor, mounted the sensor on it, and it's working. So I'm just going to give it a little bit of coat of paint, and I'll mount it, and I'll show you. I'll show you me mounting it. So that's that. It works pretty much perfect, exactly the way it should do. Release and back on. That's it. That's that job done.